welcome back to No Todo Se Cura con Vix podcast. We're so excited to have you back. This is our episode 2, and we have such a great topic to talk about with you today. I am Jessie, one of the co-hosts.
I am Maggie.
And I am Heidi.
Welcome.
Please don't forget to follow us on our YouTube channel. Click like, share, and subscribe. And also, we have all the different platforms on for our podcast. So, whichever you prefer through Spotify or Apple. And also, please don't forget to like our page and share. We are on TikTok, we are on Instagram, and on YouTube.
Yes. And don't forget, too, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us at our email, notodosecuraconvix@gmail.com.
Yes.
Absolutely. Or just slide into our DMs. So before we get started with this very interesting topic today, we want to give a little disclaimer just so that we can all enjoy the episode in a very safe way and just have a good time. So this podcast, No Todo Se Cura con Vix, is not intended to be used as a therapy session. We are simply just sharing our experiences, sharing our journey, and sharing resources that helped us in our personal journey. So we strongly encourage our listeners to find a licensed therapist if they feel called to begin their healing journey, or if they want to dig deeper into their own journey.
Yes. Thank you,
Yes.
Maggie.
Please make sure to take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so our topic today is so exciting because a few months ago, when we were getting ready to start recording, on Instagram, we asked our followers and listeners, what are some of the topics that they would like for us to talk about? And so we gave them about 3 or 4 choices, and we are going to honor your vote today. So today we're going to do Hablame de ti. I don't recognize myself anymore. Thank you so much for all who voted and shared with us what they want to hear more about. I'm so excited about this topic because this is kind of my field, and I can't wait to dive in.
Yeah, this is a really good topic. It's about self-care, which is a very interesting topic because I feel like a lot of people tend to have one specific idea of what self-care is and what it should look like, and if it's not that, then it's not self-care. And even though those things are considered self-care activities, there's so much more that you can do. There's so many small little things that we can all incorporate in our daily lives that are self-care.
So, what would you describe as something that we confuse, right, as self-care and self-healing that isn't, a full term, like something that is going to change for the better in our self-healing when we are struggling with certain things? What would you describe that people confuse with?
Well, I think we have to really start defining what is self-care, self-love, because I think we are all caught up with all of everything that we see on social media, what we see on TV. And so many of us think that self-care, self-love practices is a luxury, because most of the time when we are showing them on social media or on TV, it requires lots of money sometimes and time.
Oh, yeah.
And many of us we're not able to do that. So we feel like that's not for me. And don't get me wrong, I love the vacations. I love the spa. I love to do my nails. I love to do my hair.
Love those too.
They are amazing. But that is not practicing the full journey of self-love and self-care.
Yeah.
That, yes, of course, when I go do my hair, of course, when I'm on vacation, in that moment, I'm happy. I feel good. But it's pretty much a temporary high.
It's like a Band-Aid, right?
Yes. And in addition to that, why do I have to wait until going to vacation or going onto a spa to take care of myself?
Yeah.
I should be able to take care of myself, my body, my mind, myself. I should show love to myself every single day.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah. Yeah.
I shouldn't wait for the next vacation.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
Or on Fridays after work to do my nails.
Yes.
I know. I mean, these are so many different ways. You know, people also say, "Oh, I'm gonna wait for Friday to have that drink. I'm gonna
Mhm.
wait for Friday to do my nails. I'm gonna wait for July to go on my vacation." And they work hard and they're stressed.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that even when you go do those things, by the time that day comes, right,
Mm-hmm.
you're depleted. You're done. Like, do you really, really enjoy it for that long? It's like a quick high, like you said. Within 20 minutes of after you've done all of that, or even your vacation is done, you're coming back to reality.
Yes. I think it kicks you harder. Like once you go on vacation and you're having such a great time and it's so much fun and then you come back to reality, it's just sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you can't even go back to work the next day because
A vacation
to-
for your vacation.
you need to
Mhm.
process what just happened.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we also think that our bodies will just like jump up and down whenever we wanted to, when your
Mhm.
mind is somewhere else,
Yes.
you know?
So self-care and self-love, it is learning to give yourself what you need at the moment.
Yes.
It's learning to take care of yourself, soothe yourself
Hmm.
without having to spend a lot of time or money.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Self-care is it's being able to have the relationship, let's call it with your body, where it's like, because our body is constantly speaking to us, right?
Mm.
Where you are honoring what your body needs in that moment. You know, that's a form of self care.
So, what would you describe that as an example?
So, for example, self care, and I know that this is not, of course, you have to fit this into your lifestyle, but self care is, let's say, very simple eating 3 meals a day, feeding your body 3 times a day.
Mm.
Because your body, in order for your body to keep going, it needs fuel,
Yeah.
it needs energy.
Mm-hmm.
So drinking water,
Mm-hmm.
that's a form of self-care that
Mhm.
anybody can do. It's like if you're home and you can do it and you're feeling tired, laying down and taking a nap,
Mm-hmm.
resetting your body,
Mm-hmm.
that's a form of self-care. That doesn't, that's something easy that you can do. You know what I mean?
No, something else that is very important, especially for the Latinas and the Latino community. Sorry. It's more about self-care is annual checkups with your doctor.
Going to the doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And yes, self-care is therapy if you need it.
Sleep.
Sleep if you need
Absolutely.
it.
Sleep
I
is a
didn't
form
know
of self-care.
how important
Mm-hmm.
sleep is. And in the past, I was diagnosed with sleep apnea. And I didn't realize how much that was affecting my whole entire attitude, the way I process things, my memory. I was always on fog. So, sleep, it's like one of the number one things that I take with me. Like, no matter what, if I need sleep, I'm going to sleep. I don't care how anybody feels. I'm going to take that time because I can see a lot of people struggle with sleep and it affects their entire day.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I think also like so then the challenge is many times. So how do I get there?
Hmm.
Right? Because it sounds very easy.
Oh, yeah.
It does.
But how do I get there? Well, I think for me the first step is to I think sometimes we're so afraid to connect with ourselves
Mm.
to figure out what it is that we want because a lot of things might come up that we might not feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So the number one thing is I think is for me from when I started really starting taking care of myself and building that this self-love relationship with my body, with my mind, it was self-compassion.
Mm. Yeah.
There is nothing
Mhm.
wrong with me. I am not broken. I just need to change some behaviors and patterns that maybe in the past worked, but they're not working for me at this moment.
Mm. Mm.
And have that realization and accept it and be compassionate about it.
Yes.
For me, that was my first step.
Mm-hmm.
I can't be like, oh, I'm so stressed out. Work is so stressed out. The kids are so, and not sit down and really start thinking about what's happening, right? And deciding like, why am I really questioning myself? Like, why am I constantly stressed? What's happening? How am I taking care of myself? What do I need? What are my patterns? What am I saying to myself?
These are good questions to ask
Mm-hmm.
yourself.
Mm-hmm. What am I saying to myself? What am I believing? What are my negative talks?
Huge,
Yes.
huge one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very true. It's self-compassion is a big one because we were not, unfortunately, brought up where self-care is important.
Yeah.
Right? So we were, at least in our experience, I don't know, anybody else, but with us, it was, you take care of everybody. There's so much things to do. Whatever, los oficios de la casa, they come first. You got to, and the kids and the husband and this and that. So, and then you have work on top of that. And then some people have school. And then some people, some people have a million things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really hard to be like, I'm going to start doing self-care.
Yes.
When I have all of these things going on, and I haven't been conditioned to believe that I deserve self-care.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And all these things need to be done before, like, who cares about me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's about one, having self-compassion and starting small.
Very small.
I also feel like people are like, I'm going to do self-care, so I'm going to do all of these things.
Yes.
Un checklist.
Don't do a checklist.
No.
Start with one small thing.
Yes.
One thing that you can think that is very manageable.
Mm-hmm. Realistic.
And realistic.
Mm-hmm.
And have self-compassion. If you were not able to do it today, it's okay to be like, that sucks. I really wanted to do it. But kind of like, move on from that.
Yes.
And have the compassion. Be like, you know what? Tomorrow's another day. I'm going to try to do it.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I love what you said about not being taught to take care of ourselves, right? And if we really start thinking about generational trauma, right? Many of us, first generation, our parents came to this country on survivor mode. How are we going to survive? How are we going to take care of our family? How are we going to provide for our family at home? And so their thing was work, 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 bust your ass, make sure you feed the kids, you take care of the kids. That's the reason, it was so hard that's the reason why they kept telling us, for many of us, you need a better life. We're doing all of this because we want you to have a better life.
Oh, the pressure.
So they probably didn't talk about self-care, but they knew that there had to be a better way because they were constantly on survivor mode.
Constantly tired.
And we grew up thinking that way. Even though it's not our story, we're not going through that. We're first generation. Our lifestyles are very different. The opportunities we have are very different. We are still living as if we were on survivor mode.
Well, because this is what we mirrored.
Yes.
Right? So we're seeing our parents and we know that there's something else out there. We see other people living differently.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're battling both.
Yes.
We're looking at our parents and our adults around us, right? And then we see other people and we're like, hold on.
Yeah.
This doesn't seem like this is the way I'm supposed to be living, right? This doesn't feel right. There's got to be more. Hence why we started looking into different things to heal, right? And to practice these self-care rituals or whatnot, like how to build into something that can help us feel better and heal our nervous system,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so we were conditioned to do it, to live that way, that even though consciously we know we don't have to do these things, we thank God for all our family's hard work and sacrifice. We're in a different position, but this is all we know.
Yeah.
This is what we grew up. We grew up with two parents or maybe one parent who was constantly on the go,
Yeah.
taking care of everyone. Like, they couldn't even think about tomorrow. It was just like, how can we survive today?
Yeah.
Right? So we have to start learning how to let go of that.
Mm-hmm.
We need to start building, and that's when we need to start building self-compassion.
Mm-hmm.
And building self-compassion is building self-awareness.
Yeah.
You need to know what is happening in the moment so that you're able. I tell this to my clients all the time. If you know, right, what's happening, if you know what to change, right, you are more motivated to make that change.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you go to the doctor and you tell the doctor, "Doctor, I'm in pain." What's the next question?
Where?
Yes. And then you're like, "Oh, right here in my arm." And they'll do whatever they need to, the blood test, whatever it is, to make sure that they can find out what's happening to your arm.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go to a doctor and you say, "I'm in pain," and you can't tell them where, they can't help you.
No.
Mhm.
No.
They'll start just running a whole bunch of tests and be like,
You're good. Tú
try to
estás bien.
figure out.
So sometimes we think that self-care is going to help us avoid that question.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's the opposite, right? You can't do spas and, vacationing. And once again, nothing against that. But if you're not really doing the deep work of asking yourself, what is happening? Where does it hurt? What am I feeling? And having compassion towards that, it's going to be very difficult for you to identify what is self-care and self-love for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So, very interesting question. Like, how or when did you figure out or determined there's got to be some way I need to change certain habits or incorporate new habits, right? And what did you do? Like, how did that journey begin for each one of us? And hopefully, with these tools, it just is a way that our listeners can figure out their way. In ways that they can, like, oh, I'm gonna take a little bit of Jesse's method and Maggie's and Heidi's, and I'm gonna add this of my own because this helps me. So, Jesse, how did you start?
Me first?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think, it's important to kind of give you a brief story of how I even got there. So about maybe 8 years ago, maybe, yeah, 7 years ago, I decided to go back to school. I was getting my master's to become a therapist, and I was at first working full-time, going to school full-time, dealing with two little kids. At that time, my boys were young, and I was also married, so in a marriage and taking care of that. And I was on super survivor mode. It's so fun because I was telling you today, it became so intense. I was so stressed out that I literally made myself numb. I made myself numb. For the 4 years, I was like, I just made myself numb. I was just on the go. I wasn't feeling. I was like, I can't do this. Like, I just got to keep going, and I can't stop to process. And I graduated. As soon as I graduated, maybe not even 6 months after my graduation, I collapsed in my sister's house. Remember?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes. I collapsed. I started having, for 5 years, which I never experienced, heart issues. I went through surgeries. I tried different medications, and nothing was ever, like, they couldn't figure out what was going on. There were moments where I thought that I was really not going to see my boys grow up.
Oh my God, that's so scary.
Yes. My husband really thought he wasn't going to have me. Like, he tells me now that sometimes in the middle of the night he would wake up and check to see if I'm breathing.
Oh my God.
Yes. So after that experience, when I was able to really figure out my body and how to take care of myself, moving forward, I don't see life the way that I used to see it before. I don't take it for granted.
Beautiful that you know that.
I don't take it for granted. I live to the fullest. I try.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when I started really, like, I've always incorporated breath work and yoga. I've always been really into that. But after that, I really was into taking care of myself. So I was committed to breath work. I was committed to yoga, acupuncture. I discovered acupuncture during that journey.
Thank you, by the way.
I love my girl Jennifer.
Oh, yeah. She's awesome.
She's the greatest.
Which she also has so much wisdom and knowledge about our bodies and our minds, so that helped me a lot. And I started doing that and really taking care of my body, not only like exercising, but giving my body what it wants, feeding it what it wants, resting when it wants. I remember doing a practice Jennifer was the one who gave me this practice, where I would wake up in the morning or do it in the middle of the day. I would take 3 minutes to breathe and ask my body, what do you need at this moment?
Oh, that is so beautiful.
And for a couple of weeks, it wouldn't say shit. And I was like, esto no sirve.
¿Qué es lo que me dijo Jennifer?
Pero este cuerpo no habla, es mudo.
Este cuerpo debe estar dañado de tanto que ha pasado. But, she kept saying, do it, keep doing it. And I did. And this shit is going to sound crazy, but there was then this afternoon, I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. 3 more minutes. Let me put the timer on. And I was breathing and I kept asking, what do you want? What do you want? And it said, this is going to sound, I don't even know why I'm sharing this, but it said, I need a green tea with lime.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even like green tea.
Oh, there you go.
So I was like, no, this must be my mind trying to say something so that I can convince myself that this is working. And I was like, I'm not going to listen to this. But it kept telling me the entire day, you're in the mood for some green tea and lime, green tea and lime. So I finally did it. And when I did it, it was just an amazing experience. I just felt so good and rested.
Oh, it needed that.
It did.
It's so crazy how sorry to interrupt you, but just that whole concept of what does my body need question, right? Mm-hmm. We want instant answer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We get everything instantly. So we expect our brains and our body to tell us within 5 minutes. And this is what's wrong with this whole idea of, oh, I'm doing this and it's not working, like meditation and everything else.
Yeah.
It's not working. I did it yesterday. It's not working.
Yeah.
So sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So fast forward, ever since that experience, I just kept listening to my body. And I know when my body's hungry. I know it craves veggies sometimes. And I eat, I rest. I don't force my body. Like if I am home and I'm able to rest, I'm going to rest. I started learning how to set boundaries, which was very hard for me. After I started understanding my body and what I need, I then started setting boundaries in my relationship, which that was also very hard for me. And moving forward, like every day I learned something new about my body. Like I do deadlifts. Who would have thought?
Girl.
Okay. Like never, ever, ever did I ever think that I was going to do that. And my body, every time it does it, it just feels so wonderful. It's like a high, So now I do that. I do that at least twice a week. I also love to be in silence. So I wake up early in the morning and I am in silence when everyone else is sleeping. I either read, I sometimes watch a show, I sometimes just drink my coffee and just sit and look outside. But it's my moment. And I need that. I notice that when I skip that, I just can't function.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's my self care. That's my way of showing my body I love you for taking care of me.
Yeah.
I don't have to wait to go on vacation. I don't have to wait to book that spa to give that to my body.
Yeah.
That's when you start building that relationship.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And about this whole thing about like the deadlift and the weights, this is coming from someone that had issues, with your heart and all this stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy
Yeah.
that you have been able to figure it out, you know. All these medications, all that stuff, of course, I'm never going to speak bad about medicine, but sometimes that's not what we need all the time. Sometimes it's deeper than that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's looking inward, figuring out, listening to your body, asking those questions. Because look at you
Yeah.
now. So
That
thank you
was
for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you. That was my body pretty much saying, okay, I'm going to keep you numb until we survive this. We're on survivor mode. We are on freeze mode, trauma response. And as soon as we feel that we're no longer in danger, I'm going to collapse on you.
I'm gonna
That's
shut down.
exactly what it did.
Wow.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Chills.
Yeah.
Ah. Yeah, that's a good, that's a good share.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just our body is speaking to us every single day.
Mm.
Every day. We just, we choose, a lot of us choose not to like listen to it because there's just so much going on, right?
Yeah.
It's scary sometimes.
Yeah. I had a client once come to do some consa, and I'm doing the consa on her, and afterwards we're like talking, and one of the things about consa is this happens for everybody, but if there's people that are holding like a lot of stress or a lot of energy or toxin or inflammation, there's certain areas of the body that turn gray.
Oh.
And it doesn't say gray, like, you go to the bathroom, and you can, wipe it off, whatever, but it turns gray.
Wow.
And for her, it was her forehead and around her ears.
Hmm.
And, we're talking, and I tell her, and, she's like, oh my God, I've been having like all these like ear problems, and there's nothing wrong with me. Like, they keep telling me that everything is fine. So I'm like, have you been like really stressed lately? And I see she's almost like gonna cry, whatever. She's like, yes, it's just, it's been very stressful, whatever. So I explained to her the impact that like stress has, on her body.
Mm.
And she goes, but like, it's like, how am I supposed to do it? Like, stress is always going to be there. Like, I can't stop stress. And I go, absolutely not. Well, unless you're living in a mountain.
Not even.
And do that, meditating and humming every day. You're going to have stress.
The birds are humming too much.
You have to figure out how to put yourself first in the midst of all that stress.
Oh yeah.
That's just what it is. And for me, it was a lot of things. Before having my son, I would say that like I took care of my body in the way that I used to work out a lot. Mm-hmm. A really good friend of mine is a trainer, and
my trainer,
which is your trainer, Joaquin Washington, and
yes.
He has an amazing gym in Harlem. And I was like his first client ever, so we were like, and I used to work out all the time with him, whatever. So I say I would take care of my body, but that was all I took care of. Mm-hmm. My physical body. Yeah. I didn't take care of my emotional body. I didn't take care of my energetic body. I didn't take care of my mental body. I just took care of my physical body. And I was working in fashion, children's wear. And I was burned out. I worked in children's wear in the same company for about 11 years. And of those 11 years, like probably 5 years, I was burned out. And then I got pregnant and I had my son. And everything was I was very miserable throughout my entire pregnancy because I was sick the whole time. But month 7, I started swelling.
Mm.
I was just like, oh, pregnant women, they do
Swell up.
that.
Yeah.
Whatever. And I went to a doctor's appointment, and the nurse me coge la presión, and she takes it again, and she takes it again. And she's like, and I go, oh, is it a little high? Because, I'm a little swollen. And she goes, a little high? She goes, give me 1 second. I need to bring something else. And I'm like, what?
Something else.
Otra máquina
Ay, Dios
para
mío.
cogerme la presión.
Una
Esa
máquina
presión
especial.
mía estaba en 200.
Oh my goodness, embarazada.
Now, even my doctor was like, what? This has never happened before. Let me tell you. I went to my appointment on a Thursday. I had an emergency C-section on a Saturday. Okay? Because my blood pressure just refused to go down. I was on this blood pressure medication, and it wouldn't go down. They tried to keep me in the hospital until at that point I was in week 27, until I was at week 35. They're like, we can't do that because your blood pressure doesn't come down. We can induce your pregnancy because we can't take you off the blood pressure medication, and we can't give you the medication to induce your pregnancy with the blood pressure
Are you listening
medication.
to all these
Christ.
patterns? Like all these connection, no to this, no to that.
And
we can't
then
do this.
she's like, talk it with your husband, but we think that you should have an emergency C-section because you're at risk of having a stroke.
What? Oh
And
my
I said, talking
God.
to my husband, I'm not dying today. I have nothing to say to
Hagan
him.
lo que tienen que hacer.
So I was like, we're doing this. So we had the emergency C-section on Saturday. Mateo was born, and he spent 66 days in the NICU.
Ay.
And I used to go every day, casi with my C-section, with, if you've ever had a C-section, you know what a C-section pain is.
Oh.
And I used to go and see him in the hospital every day. I was there for 8 to 10 hours a day. A veces no comía nada until the end of the day. And then that whole experience.
And that was during COVID.
No, that was the year before COVID. That was 20.
Yes,
Yes,
you're right.
yes.
You're right. Okay.
And that whole experience just shifted the way that I saw things. I just didn't want to continue to have this crazy, fast-paced life, giving all this energy to this job that was just consuming me. And that's when I started to make little changes. And, getting into yoga, getting into breath work. Jennifer really helped.
Oh, yes.
Acupuncture.
She's an
I did acupuncture. I did qigong. I did so many different things. I started that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went back to therapy. And then I went back. I saw in that span of few years, I saw 3 different therapists. Not because, and I wouldn't stop seeing it because they were bad. It was just because one therapist would get me to a point in my journey where it was like, this is where you were supposed to get me. I need to go deeper. I have to find somebody else.
Yeah.
And I went
you reached
deeper.
a plateau.
And then
with that
other person, with my second therapist, she got me to a point where I realized that, which I didn't know, that I was living my life in constant fear. Fear controlled my life. And then I was like, I need to get deeper to this fear. You got me where you needed to go. Then I met my third therapist where we did the shadow work. And we went deep into where this fear came from. And I feel like this is the universe just set it up for me, where I think I first started taking care of my emotional and my mental body. And then I felt the need in this journey, I need to do a full circle. Mm-hmm. And then little things started to, I started then taking care of my relationship with money. And then I started taking care of my teeth, going to the dentist more, and taking care of my, oral health. And then I made some doctor's appointment to be okay, I want to check myself, want to see, where I'm at physically, and so I think it's those little things. Mm-hmm. And then also kind of I know when I need a break, so I take my little naps if I have to take a nap. I, when was it? It was this week. I think it was Friday night. Yeah. Mateo came from school. He wanted to watch Ant-Man. the movie.
Mhm.
By the way, love Ant-Man.
It was such a
He's
was
my
such a good
favorite.
movie.
Paul Rudd is the
it
mom.
was my favorite Marvel movie. And that Pero, he fell asleep, and Will also, fell asleep. And I was like, should I wake up Will? And I said, I know, yo no quiero janguear con ninguno de los dos. I was like, I've been really busy this week, and I've been really tired. So yo cogí, and that day, I did some laundry in la noche. The laundry room estaba callado.
Oh, beautiful.
What I needed was to clean my living room.
Mhm.
I picked it
Sometimes
up.
that's what you need.
I
Mhm.
mopped it, and then
Mhm.
I put on Dateline. And I saw Dateline by myself, and I loved it. And the next day, Will was like, "But you didn't wake me up." I said, "Ay, Will, yo no quería janguear." I wanted to hang out with myself.
Yeah.
Because to me, since high school, this is something that I noticed recently. My biggest form of self-care is alone time.
I love alone time.
I need,
Amen.
and if I don't get alone time, I get cranky.
Me too.
Yeah.
I need alone time to be away from friends, from family, from husband, from kids, everybody away where it's just me. And sometimes that means being alone in silence. Sometimes it means being alone listening to music. Sometimes it means being alone, doing laundry or folding
Lo que
laundry,
sea,
lo que sea,
pero
lo que
sola.
quiero estar es sola. And
Ni con más sola.
it fills my cup.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is sometimes really hard to do because, again, as a female Latina, that is considered being selfish.
I see.
If
I
you're
see.
trying to do things, oh, ¿cómo que sola? Que tú necesitas tiempo sin tu familia. ¿Cómo va a ser, Margarita? That's your mom.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
So it's also great building that self-compassion, self-awareness, but the self-compassion, because that probably was so hard to do because of the guilt, right?
Yeah.
You weren't taught to do that. You weren't taught to say, I need some me time. So working on that.
Yeah, and even when you start this whole journey and you're aware of how important self-care is and you make the time for it because you know that you need it, the guilt is always going to be there.
Yep.
The guilt doesn't just go away. You just learn to be like, okay, this is a feeling of guilt, but I still need this. I understand this is what I need right now. This is what I'm doing.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's so crazy. And just relating to you, ladies, with this whole alone time, I didn't know what that was. I felt like being alone was too much for me to sit down and face my own, what we say, demons.
That is so true.
Yeah. I struggled being alone. I always had people in my apartment in 7 West 92nd Street. Always. It was I couldn't be alone. I didn't like being alone because I was scared to be alone. And my self-discovery of alone started when I realized how beautiful it was to be there and sit down in silence and really sit and see where, like you said, ask those questions. What do I need? What do I desire? How do I feel good and safe? So my journey started literally when I moved upstate, when I finally was able to be alone. That was scary for me, but it was the most amazing thing ever. I struggled with depression for a very long time. I struggled with being overweight for a very long time. And I was sad a lot. And I didn't know where any of it stemmed from. And when you're struggling with depression and all this stuff, you point fingers. It's this person's fault. It's that person's fault. Never taking accountability for a lot of the things that I struggled with. And I had enough, and I saw myself in a very dark place. I had horrible thoughts. And with those thoughts, you feel guilty, for thinking things like that. And then I had to sit down with myself and say, I need to be here for my kid. And I need to show up for her too, because I don't want her to think that these are patterns that she needs to grow up thinking and believing. How do I help her mirror things so she doesn't go off and do these things too? So I started, the yoga, meditation, Y como tú, así mismo. Ay, esto no trabaja. Esto no trabaja. What do you mean? I can't sit in silence.
Yeah.
What the hell is that? So I downloaded Insight Timer app, and then all of a sudden they had these 30 days, and that's for like 2019 or something, right before COVID. And there was like all these different styles of meditation, which I didn't even know there was. It's like
Yep.
100 different
There's
styles.
so many.
Mm-hmm.
Y estoy yo ahí haciendo mi meditation. One of them says, allow all of the thoughts to come up. What? Allow all the thoughts? Wait, I don't have to imagine that they're not there. I can invite them. Y estoy allá and I'm like thinking of laundry, this bill, y esto, y esto. I literally spend like 5 minutes thinking about everything that I need to think about rather than like acting like they're not there. And then I said, okay, take a deep breath. I go ahead, deep breath in, exhale out, inhale love, exhale fear. Okay, now sit in silence and just relax. I did that, and that was the first breakthrough for me for meditation. It's about finding your style.
Mm-hmm.
Same journey with yoga. I tried every kind of yoga, vinyasa, kundalini, and this. And guess what? I try a little bit of everything in my own practice. I invite all those things. I do the fist of fire.
Incorporate a little bit of everything.
Everything, because my style is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yo bailo reggaeton in my yoga. I'm sorry. I'll have Bad Bunny in the background doing all kinds of things. And that's it. And a little bit of twerking because I need to invite that too. That's who I am. So
Yeah.
I've had a lot of breakthroughs in terms, and I still am learning. But I feel that silence has been the ultimate healing process for me. And that's the way I show up for myself. I set those boundaries. Don't knock on my door for an hour. Si no hay fuego, si no hay nada, no me toque esa puerta. No me joda.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been my ultimate thing. And that's something that I'm also teaching, my girls. Don't settle for anything less than. Figure it out. How do you heal? How do you, help yourself feel better in your struggles?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's good to teach that to our children that are growing up so that they can
Mhm.
grow up knowing, my son, when there's, we do a lot of things. We go out a lot, we go to the park, the museum, whatever. Pero hay veces que yo necesito descansar. I'm like, and he'll be like, Mama, where are we going to go today? And I'm like, today is going to be a lazy day. And he's like, why? And I go, because I am tired. And when your body is tired, your body needs to rest.
Beautiful.
In order for you to wake up the next day and your energy is feeling good and you're feeling happy and you're feeling grounded, you need to rest. And today I need to rest. So that's what we're going to do.
That's interesting.
That's great.
Alicia, when I started the healing, journey with yoga, una pura loca, yo andaba ahí chanting, todo esto chanting, y ella nada más miraba y yo dije, oh, por ahí, por la sala, y ella nada más, Mom, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm chanting, Alicia, I'm chanting. Okay, después estoy yo haciendo yoga. Mom, what are you doing? Yoga, honey. Después estoy haciendo otra cosa. What are you doing? And then al último, she's like, Mom, I tried yoga today. What? What are you talking about? You liked it? This is years of encouraging her to do it, but she found her own way, her own rhythm, to the point that when I go to the gym now, she's like, is yoga on tonight? Can I come with you? Vámonos. So it's like what they see, and it's so important for us to teach them. And even if they're not like joining us, they're watching us the same way we watched our parents, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
The same way we watch our family.
Yeah.
It's true.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's important to teach them. It's important to start teaching them too, to like listen to their bodies.
Yeah.
When it looks like you're tired because you're doing this, so maybe we should rest, whatever, because they grow up to be adult with awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and lack of
Absolutely.
awareness can be very difficult.
Very difficult for life.
And it's even her now, like when she's like, oh, I have a splitting headache. I don't understand why. Okay, so what did you do today? Did you drink water? Were you wearing your glasses? How long were you on the computer? How was your class today? How long was your class? Oh shit, I did do a lot. I
you
do
go.
need a break.
That's why.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Heidi, I wanted to talk a little bit more about what you were saying about those thoughts, right? Like the fear of sitting with those thoughts and the fear of like listening to what you're saying to yourself, what's the thoughts that are coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's a very important thing to talk about, right? Because the way that we are talking to ourselves has a lot to do with how we are managing stress.
Mm-hmm.
How are we dealing with our daily routines and
yeah.
lifestyles? We, depending on what you say to yourself and what are the thoughts that you're having, you can definitely end up in very low energy
Mm-hmm.
and end up in or lots of stress or anxious
Mm-hmm.
for many of us because our thoughts, even though they're not all the time true, they feel very real.
Yes, yes, I totally agree. Um, the thoughts were intense at times. Um, and when I decided to start doing that yoga healing or showing up for myself, basically is what I'm gonna call it, showing up for myself and realizing that I had to do something different. I started working with affirmations, mantras.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Also, I remember taking a meditation class. And in the meditation class, it's all about the way you speak about yourself.
Yes.
So, one of the things that he said to me was, he was talking to me. He's like, "So, what do you like about yourself?" So I'm there like, "Oh, I have a nice smile. I'm nice. I think I'm nice." He's like, "You think?" I'm like, "Well, I could be nice." He's like, "You are nice.
Mm-hmm.
You are a nice being." I'm like, "Oh, I'm a nice being." He's like, "You need to have a better conversation because your your soul doesn't know what you really mean until you actually speak of it the right way. You need to be own it.
Yes.
I'm an awesome person. I'm an awesome being. I do the best I can." And that's the way. And even now when I struggle and I like even something as dumb as, "Oh my God, I'm so stupid." Don't do that. You're not allowed to do that.
No.
Say, "Oh, okay, I should fix that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna fix that."
Oh, I made a mistake. Ugh.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why that happens is so just to talk a little brief about the brain, right? So the brain main soul is to protect us. So and what it does to protect us, it really relies on memories.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way that it knows how to keep us safe. And so if we are saying to ourselves, I'm stupid, I don't know if I'm a good person, I don't know if I'm smart enough, what the brain does is it takes that information and goes back and tracks memories where you felt that way
Oh my gosh. You
To
see?
make it feel real.
to make
Yeah.
it feel real.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll start probably feeling tired or down or anxious
Oh, yeah.
Or
Yeah.
really sad.
or really sad to make that connection. That's what the brain does.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so when we are talking to ourselves that way, that is the reason why we can really make ourselves sick.
Oh, yes. Yes.
We can really make the day go by very bad
Yeah, because
and heavy,
when we're talking to ourselves like that, our vibration is low.
very low.
And when our vibration is low, there's no way of attracting anything that's going to be good for us. We're attracting low vibrational things.
Yes. So
Mhm.
when one of the things that I tell my clients when they start paying attention to what they're saying to themselves, and they're like, "Oh my God, holy shit, I'm so mean to myself." Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Then they're like, "Why do I keep doing that? How do I change it?" And I say to them immediately, I said, "Listen, the brain cannot have one negative thought and one positive thought at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It can't do that. So if a negative thought comes up and you immediately challenge it to a positive thought, the negative thought goes away.
Mm-hmm.
It can't hold both.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell them all the time, even though you don't believe it at the moment, if you're saying to yourself, I'm so stupid, you can say, no, I'm not. I'm trying my best. I am smart.
Yes.
Even if you don't believe it, because it's just science.
Yeah.
When you say that to the brain cannot hold the other thought.
And it's so crazy because with that same thought in with that meditation teacher, he was saying, and this is why it's so important to practice gratitude.
Yes.
Oh yes,
Early in the morning, those
Yes.
at least 3 gratitude, and sometimes
3 things.
you say 3 y tú vas con
Mhm,
10.
mhm,
Oh my God, I do have a lot of things.
Gratitude.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gratitude can instantly boost our vibration and our mood.
Yes.
Yes.
And one
Yes.
thing about affirmations that I do want to point out, because affirmations were really hard for me. I did not do affirmations until probably recently,
Wow.
because I had some really rooted negative beliefs about myself that were so rooted that they were my identity. And it was when I would say these affirmations, like I am smart, I am capable, it felt so fake because my internal belief system was the opposite. And I learned in a money management course, I learned how to do affirmations to kind of fit that
Yes.
kind of frame. And it's about, it's about,
To honor your journey.
if you are like, in terms of like money, whatever, I'm a money magnet, but you really don't believe it, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
But if you change it where you're like, I am learning to honor my money, I am learning to become a powerful being, I am learning to love myself, I am learning to accept and see how intelligent and smart I am, that starts to feel real, because you're like, oh yeah, it's real because I'm in a journey, I am learning. And then the more you do that, all of a sudden I started to just flip things and be now I'm like, money flows, into my life. I am a smart being. I am beautiful.
There's more where that came from. That was my favorite one.
I'm a great, like just all these things that now feel real. But I first had to start with like, I am learning to love myself. I am learning to become a business owner. I am learning how like
honoring
smart
the process.
I am. It started like that because that felt real in that moment, because all of my negative beliefs were so strong. And then saying that, and then I was able to just flip and be like, I'm smart and I'm capable and I am beautiful, and if now it feels real.
And I like the way you did that, by the way, because like you said, with the affirmations, I struggle with the same thing with the whole I am beautiful, I am a goddess, all this stuff. I have all these things all over my wall to look at every single day.
Yeah.
And for a while it didn't seem real. Yeah. But I like the way you worded it. It was still positive, it was real, and it was you on your way there.
Yeah.
It's not happening right now, but it's going to happen. And it's about you learning. It's all about finding your niche, finding what works for you that is going to help you in the long run. And these are all so many different little things that we have learned to incorporate in our lifestyle, because it's a freaking lifestyle.
Yeah. So, we don't want to make this episode too long, but I kind of like recapping things that we did to help us start that journey, because you just don't, the way social media and TV shows it is like, oh, you just wake up and that's it. About self-care and self-love, and
it's all about me. Forget everybody.
Yeah, the other thing, it's all about me.
It's not gonna happen.
It's not realistic.
But it's life is not. We're social beings. We're supposed to have community and connection.
Oh, it's a beautiful
You don't
thing.
need, it doesn't have to be all about you if you know how to set boundaries.
Yeah.
You could be with others and love others.
That's another one too. Boundaries. Setting those boundaries is self-love right there.
Yes.
Self-care.
So I just made a couple of things, like a list of the things that I do myself, I recommend too. The first one is recognizing and accepting your emotional state.
Yes.
No one is happy all the time. That's okay.
Oh yeah.
Emotions, I say it to everyone. Emotions for me is kind of like a messenger. It comes and it tells us what we like and what we don't like. It's not about our personality. the way that emotions are not part of your personality. You're not an angry person. You're not
No.
a sad person.
Emotions are just energy in motions.
Yes.
Oh,
If we start seeing them that way, then we can honor the message that comes up. When we're happy and and you're happy and you realize, "Oh my God, when I'm with my family, I feel happy." You do that more.
yes.
Mhm.
If you're at work and they're demanding a lot of high expectations and you're getting angry, there's a boundary that needs to be set. That's
gotta
what the
do
anger is
something
telling
about.
you.
Yeah.
Yes. So sitting with our emotions and not internalizing it like it's something wrong with us, taking time for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Start with another thing that people struggle with. Okay, I'm going to start taking care of myself. I'm going to wake up every morning at 5 a.m. and I am going to work. I'm going to do self care until 8 o'clock in the morning. First of all, you know, with capitalism,
Yes.
we have been trained that we are all supposed to be morning people. And that's not the case for all of us.
Yeah.
Some people, high energy is in the evening. Some
Yeah.
people love going to the gym at the evening because they have high energy. Learn about you and
what
where
works for you.
yeah, where is your energy? Is it in the morning? Is it in the midday? Is it in the afternoon? Is it at night? And honor that and take 10 minutes of that time when you are super hype and take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Self-care doesn't have to be at 5 a.m.
No, my self care is usually in the evening. I have a 4-year-old. I can do that.
Yeah, you got to work with your time. Sometimes I want to do mornings. Sometimes I want to do it depends also my day.
Yes.
Sometimes
Yes.
my day I do
Mhm.
feel more I am a morning person, but my high energy sometimes is at night.
Yes. And it doesn't have to require hours. It can be 10, 15 minutes. You can start there.
Just learn how to show up for
Mhm.
yourself.
Yes. Get enough sleep. Start
Yes.
monitoring how many hours you're sleeping.
Yes.
Yep, that
Yes.
is an important one. The body needs sleep because the body starts to detoxify at nighttime. Your organs all have a certain hour at the night where they start to kind of like do their process of like detoxifying the day. For example, the liver is between 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. when it starts to like kind of like, you know, release. And the only way your organs can do that is if you're asleep.
Yes.
Mm.
The other one is exercise. Whatever that looks for you. If that's going for a walk in the evening or getting on the treadmill or doing HIIT or doing yoga, whatever it is, move
Walking.
your body.
Dance.
Yes.
Sometimes exercise is dancing for me. I'll
Mm-hmm.
put even for us Dominican un típico. That's all you need. One song.
Dance. Mm-hmm.
Un típico.
Mm-hmm.
Ay, cállate, you're done.
Un típico.
Yeah,
Un típico.
that's it.
Yes. And there's so much research that if you have questions and want to talk about this, but there's so much research about mental health and exercise.
Yeah,
It
it
just
really
really
is the
helps.
dopamine right there. It gives
Mhm.
you what you need. Yep.
Yes. Learning how to eat right, incorporating more healthier food, we can
Veggies.
have, yeah, maybe, we can eat whatever we want, but let's be more mindful about how we can incorporate more veggies, more fruits. That helps the body and the brain too.
The way it breaks down, it also that's the way we are able to determine like how it works on our body. So we eat a lot of greasy foods, all the fried stuff, all the
Yeah.
fast food, you're going to feel heavy
And sluggish.
Mhm.
and sluggish. It's
Mhm.
not going to help you.
Mhm. Using self-talk in a positive way, like what you described, Maggie. Start with, you already know, science. If I have a negative thought, my brain cannot hold that thought if I give it a positive thought. So start with whatever makes sense to you. If you want to start slowly, whereas, let's say the negative thought is, I'm not good enough. Maybe the positive thought is, yes, I am. I'm in the path. I'm in the journey of working on becoming better, right? If that feels good, do it. Trust me, you will see the negative thought just decreasing the more that you use the positive thought. And the best way to start is by gratitude.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Gratitude is.
Yes. The same way that the brain goes back to memories where you feel stupid, The same way it goes with gratitude. When you start thinking about how the amazing things that you love and you're grateful for, it'll take you back to those memories.
Yeah, and you know what about gratitude? People think that like, okay, I have to set these X amount of time to sit down and write all the things I'm grateful for. I don't do it that way. That doesn't work for me. I do it in my head.
Me too.
Yeah.
And I also, what I started to do is like when I go to the supermarket and I pay, I'll say thank you for the money to buy this food.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful. That's
Mhm.
beautiful.
Or, you know,
I might use
yeah,
that.
you know, little things like that. Just being great. Or if I get, let's say, I don't know, a discount on something, thank you for this discount. Like,
I see.
I had to get a root canal last week, and I was like, I don't know if my insurance is going to cover this. Y yo entré al cuartico de que to tell me how much I have to pay, lo que sea. And she was like, oh no, all you have to pay is $10 or, you know, insurance, you know, to, you know, did the whole, yeah. And I got out of that room and I was like, thank you, because my insurance covered this root canal.
Yeah.
And all I have to do is pay
It's a
$10.
beautiful
Yeah.
Yeah, being grateful. Being
Yeah.
grateful could look, and that's what my gratefulness comes. Everything happens in my shower, by the way, and it's so crazy because I associate showers with, and it is something you guys can also practice one day. But that's my way of releasing everything that doesn't serve me. It's in the shower. It's going away. You're showering, you're releasing everything from your day. And I talk to myself in the shower, which when I was small, I was called crazy, but now it's not. Don't worry, I'm not going to go around in public talking to myself. But in the shower, a lot of my thoughts happen, and my gratefulness also happens there. I practice gratefulness. Thank you so much for this water. Thank you for all of my limbs and all, like, things that we take for granted.
Yeah.
You know?
When you pay your rent, thank you for the money to pay my rent. Thank you for the money for gas.
Little things.
My mom, that's one thing that she taught me. Like, I used to be like, ay, mami, yo tuve que pagar esto y esto, salió eso tan caro. And she'll be like, dale gracias a Dios that you had the money to cover it. And I'm like, you're absolutely right.
That's one thing about her.
Yeah.
She is very
you have the money to cover
grateful.
it, so give
Por lo
give
menos tú
thanks.
pudiste hacerlo.
Yeah,
Hay
she
gente que
said,
no tienen eso.
And I'm like, you're absolutely right. It's true.
It's true.
So the other one is challenge your negative story about yourself. Stop really victimizing yourself. Stop being your worst enemy.
And that's so easy to do.
The past is the past. We did things and we went through things to survive. And we're now in the journey to really take care of ourselves. We can't go back.
No, it's already done. You can't change it. It's done. Move forward and figure out what you want to do today. And it's never too late to shift all these things. It's never too late to work on ourselves.
Yeah.
And it can look different every single day.
Yes. And the last one is forgive yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Forgiveness.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go. Forgive yourself. Be compassionate to yourself. Build self-awareness.
Yeah.
That's how you start building self-love. That's how you start building a relationship with yourself. That's how you start the whole thing when we talk about healing, finding yourself.
Yeah, that's special.
That's how you start.
And everything that really, and this is something that, touche, everybody says this, but everything worth it takes time.
Takes time.
And that's our body. Sometimes our body and our mind are not connected because we need to work on it.
Yeah.
Sit with that. Learn from that. But this has been such an awesome episode.
Yes, I love this. I hope our listeners enjoy this. I hope that they can take some pointers and start their journey. We would love to hear about your process and what's happening. So please DM us on Instagram or email us.
Yes,
we would love to hear also if this episode was helpful.
Yes, please share your comments. Let us know what you did. Oh, and sorry, I forgot to mention something. I also did not do this without my therapist. I needed therapy. I am sorry. This whole process, shout out to my therapist, shout out to all therapists. Okay. Because, the amount of shit she had to hear about me wasn't easy. But the pointers, learning how to talk to myself, she was very responsible for that. And therapy has helped most of the people that are close to me, and I encourage it 1,000%.
Yes.
Of course, everybody needs to find their person. I
Mm-hmm.
had some people that didn't serve me, and just like Maggie shared, you had your journeys. Sometimes it was up to a certain point, and then you
And
need
then
to search for
deeper.
something else, and it's fine. But I just wanted to share how important therapy is. So do your research and find someone that can, benefit you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And thank you for listening.
Thank
Yes.
you,
Yeah, thank you
guys.
so much for listening. Again, DM us, leave comments. What are you thinking? Anything you want to share, we're here,
Yes.
And remember to follow us, go on our YouTube,
Subscribe.
share, like, tell your friends, tell everybody. And, thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.